Hello, everybody. This is Ashley, and this is the Addict Mom SoberThoughts AddictionTalks podcast. This is another regular episode. It's not going to be a daily thought. I just was sitting here in bed, and I had a few thoughts that I want to get off my brain because I've been thinking a lot about this. I want to talk about addiction and the sex industry, sex work in particular. Sex work has always had such a great amount of shame attached to it, and I'm not sure why that is. Women look down on other women who work in the sex industry, whether they get paid top dollar for movies, OnlyFans, or they walk on the street. They used to do Backpage, they do Craigslist. Whatever their area is, women look down on other women who do it. Well, I say women who are not in the sex industry look down on other women who are in the sex industry making their living that way. And men look down on women who do that. Whether it's porn, OnlyFans, pictures, Playboy, prostitution, escorting, as if the woman doing it loses her value. Being sex for money, dating for money, being with somebody for money. And those same men are watching the porn she's filming. Those same men will pay a girl to go out with them if she looks good enough. But it's the woman who loses her value in their eyes. And addicts, a lot of times, you see, in addiction, there are moral grounds that people will place. And it's very ironic to think about it. And these moral grounds, what I call moral grounds, they are lines drawn in the sand stating by an addict, I will not do that no matter how bad I get. Meaning their rock bottom is across that line, or so they think their rock bottom is across that line. A few examples of this so-called line that they draw. One would be they will never shoot up. So they will take their drugs any which way, from here to the high heavens, but they will never use a needle because needle is nasty. A needle means you're bad. A needle means you are truly addicted. A needle means you have no control over your addiction. A needle means you are not functioning. A needle means you're dirty. A needle means you're diseased. A needle means you don't give a shit about your life, about your family's life, or about anyone else's life around you. Within the addiction community, addicts think this about other addicts who use needles. Not every addict, but many addicts. They say, I will never shoot up. And after a while, they start to shoot up. You see, some people will cross that line. They're not okay with the fact that they cross the line, but they cross it because they want a more intense high. They don't want to be sick. They can use less product to get a more euphoric high. And they say, oh, well, I'm not like the other ones, though. I'm only doing this because I want to, not because I have to. I'm not being controlled by it. Another line would be stealing from somebody's family. So for instance, somebody will say, I'll steal from everyone, but I will never steal from my own parents. That's a line a lot of people are not willing to cross. Eventually, most cross that line. Another line is prostitution. They say, I will never sleep with somebody for drugs or for money. Or they say, I'll sleep with a dope dealer for dope, but I won't sleep with a man for money to go buy the dope. And in their mind, it's not so bad because, at least I'm having sex with the same person over and over again for drugs, so it's not so bad. But they won't sleep with a different guy every hour for money because that's crossing a line that has a lot of shame attached to it. Just as with the needle, a lot of shame is put on needles. And with this shame, with the line drawn that an addict will never cross, they tell themselves, comes tremendous guilt when they cross that line? And how do they handle that guilt? How do they handle the shame that they put on themselves? They have now just crossed into an area they thought was black and white. They thought there was no gray area. They thought either you're a prostitute or you're not. Either you have sex for money or you don't. And that's something I will never do ever. I don't care how sick I am. I don't care how much I need money. I will go rob someone. I will go rob a store. I will go rob a bank. I'll go catch a lick before I sleep with somebody for money. And then before you know it, they're being offered $60 for a 5-minute blowjob. Why not? Why not? They're being offered $100 for 30 minutes. All they have to do is close their eyes and bend over. All they have to do is close their eyes, hold their breath, and that's it. So how do they deal with this? The shame, the guilt, the self-hatred. They get high. That's how they deal with it. They get high and they hide it from everybody until they can't. They may tell 1 or 2 people, either people they're doing it with or maybe their boyfriend who is pimping them out, because that's what their boyfriend is doing. Their boyfriend is pimping them out. And that's it. They lie to everyone else because if they can keep it a secret for long enough, they feel they can get out of it easier. As long as no one knows, I can get out of it and never look back. And it's a lot of days of never looking yourself in the mirror. Even when you do your makeup, you don't look at your eyes. Even when you're doing your mascara, you look down and you don't look directly in your eyes in the mirror. A lot of never making love again. Even if you have a significant other, you don't look in their eyes. You don't get touched gently. A lot of bending over rather than laying down. There's a lot of impersonal touching going on because of the shame that they feel. Because they've been told their entire life, the lowest you could go is having sex for money. And I want to end that shame because, in my opinion, there's a whole hell of a lot worse you can do than have sex for money. Especially if you're making the choice to have sex for money. I'm not talking about people forced into the sex industry. I want to make that very clear. I am not talking about in this episode people who are sex trafficked or people who are forced into it by somebody and they don't want to do it. I'm talking about the people who choose to do it, whether they're an addict or not, people who say, I'm going to have sex for money or for drugs. They're not being forced into it. That's who I'm talking about. Because it is very different if you're being forced into it. That is an entirely different discussion, which I may talk about one day. But as far as the people who are choosing to do this because they want easy, fast money, or they just feel there's no other way for them to work right now because they cannot work a regular job because of their addiction, they learn to manipulate people and they learn to lie and they learn to hide it and they get really good at it. Now, I have a lot of experience with the sex work industry. I've known a lot of people to do it. And just recently, if you follow me on my TikTok, TheAddictMom, I came out and told my truth that I have been a sex worker in my active addiction. And for the longest time, I had the just worst outlook, the thickest layer of self-hatred and shame and embarrassment towards myself, all because I slept with somebody for money. And then I was thinking the other day, and I thought to myself, that's it. Like, I say the words out, I had sex for money. And it doesn't seem that big of a deal now. Like, to me, it doesn't. Maybe to you it does, if you know me personally, or even if you don't know me, maybe to you it's a big deal. But given my experiences in life and given what I have lived in my life, that is so not a big deal to me. And I know other people who feel the same way. To them, it's just sex. And you do what you got to do. You do what you want to do, and you move on with life. You don't let it phase you, and that's it. You keep it moving. You keep it hopping, so to speak. And that's what I want to do. I want to end this stigma. I want to end this shame. If you've done some stuff, even if you're not an addict, if you've had sex for money, okay, you don't have anything to be ashamed about. As long as it was 100% consensual, you wanted it. Even if it wasn't 100% consensual, you have nothing to be ashamed about. It's a different story, yes. It's a different narrative, yes. But you have nothing to be ashamed about. I made certain choices because it was easy, fast money. And I was in my active addiction. And even when I was on a treatment plan back in the day before I really made the choice to get sober back in 2017, I was on Suboxone for almost a year and I was abusing it. So even people who are not doing illicit drugs or street drugs, they can just be abusing a prescription. They will still sometimes make choices to sleep with people for money because they need more of their prescription because they're abusing it. And I don't want anyone to think I'm glorifying it, because I'm not glorifying sleeping with somebody for money. Not that there's anything wrong with it if that's what you so choose. I'm not glorifying it in the sense of be proud to have sex with somebody for money to go get high. If you choose to have sex with somebody for money and you're surviving in the sense of you're not an addict, like you're legit paying your bills and you're saving money and you're doing what you need to do to plan for your future and you're taking care of yourself and your family, you do that shit and you do that shit the best you can and you do that shit hard with no shame. No shame in your game, honey. You do that, okay? But if you're doing it just to get money for drugs, and if you're doing it barely paying your bills because you're spending every bit of money you make on drugs, I'm here to tell you, number one, there's no shame. There's still no shame in your game, honey. But number two, you can get out. You can. You don't have to do that. There is a way out for you. And the way out is different for everybody. My way out is not going to be your way out, and so on and so forth. But I do know you do not have to stay there if you don't want to. You can get out of that. If that's not what you want to do, if you're only doing it because you're in your active addiction and it's easy, quick money for your drugs, you don't have to do that. You can get out. All you have to do is make that choice. And once you have made the choice to get out of that lifestyle, baby, the doors will open for you. Your life will just open up. And it will be hard. I'm not saying this is going to be easy, because it's going to be hard, especially those first few weeks, and then the first 90 days, and then the first 6 months. It's going to be hard as shit, but it will get better, because once you start choosing to make choices based on bettering your life, not based on your addiction and not based on getting high, you start to learn who you are. And you start learning pieces of yourself you have been suppressing and pieces you never even knew. You start to see smiles you never knew you had. You see glimmers in your eyes because you're starting to look in the mirror again. You hear a laugh you have not giggled in years, okay? You remember jokes from your childhood that you would just stay up all night laughing at. You start thinking of the good memories that you've been hiding along with the bad. And then you might have a bad day. No, not you might. You will have a bad day. You'll have a few bad days. You'll have many bad days. And then you're going to take your bath, your shower. You're going to put your cocoa butter on. You're going to put your coconut oil on. You're going to do your hair. You're going to do your skincare. You're going to clean your house. You're going to lay in your bed. You're going to do your routine that you do to relax yourself every night. You're going to go to sleep and you're going to wake up, and it's going to be a new day. It's going to be a different day, and it's going to be a better day. And you're going to tell yourself, man, I lived another day. Yesterday was a shit show. Today is a new show. I am calling the shots. I am writing my script for today. And that's what you're going to do. And if it goes awry again, well, shit, you're going to do it all over again. And you're going to keep changing it up until you have finally learned to live the day that you want. Whether it's in sex work, whether it's a different job, whether it's pictures, whether it's videos, whether it's having sex with men, women, anybody in between, everybody, all of them. Have sex with all of them. Go ahead if that's what you want to do, as long as you're happy and you will not have any shame doing it. Because we're ending that shame shit just because women choose to have sex for money. We're ending that. I don't have time for shaming people in my life. And I don't have time to shame myself. Not over here. We don't have that dusty ass energy over here. No, ma'am. No, sir. Over here, it's accepting what we've done. It's acknowledging where we went wrong. It's learning to do better. It's learning to be better. And then, above all else, we are going to be better. That's what we're going to be over here. We're going to be better. We're not going to be shaming. We're not going to be making fun of. We're going to be holding ourselves and each other accountable. We're going to be accepting the truth. We're going to learn to cope with the truth. And we're going to be better with or without sex work, with or without sex, period. And I am inviting all of you to come with me. I don't care who you are, what you look like. I don't care what you've done in your past. There are certain things that are unforgivable, but we're on a positive level right now. We're not talking about that negative shit, okay? You want to be better. If you want to do better, I'm inviting you to come with me. Tell your story. When you're ready, tell your story. Accept it. Acknowledge it. Learn to cope. And be a better person. In being a better person, if you still want to have sex for money, you do that shit. But don't have sex for money to pay for your drug habit. Have sex for money to save money for your future. Have sex for money to pay your bills. Have sex for money to stash that shit so you can eventually own your own production company and produce porn. Produce sex education films, shit, to help teach people. Produce a non-profit that teaches the youth about safe sex practices, that teaches people about sex trafficking red flags. You can do so much, even with sex work, if that's what you want to do. You can do so much that actually can educate others to be a better person too. And that's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be a better person, but I'm also trying to help others be a better person. And I think in telling my story, it can help others see that there is no more shame in my corner. And if you need a corner to go to, you're more than welcome to mine. Come on over here, because I'll take all y'all in. No shame, no hate, no nothing. It's a positive happiness. And on the days you don't have positive vibes, on the days you are not happy, I will be that for you. While you are at your fragile, weakest state, I'll be the positive vibes you need. And I think we all need that person. We all need just a group, even if it's just internet people that we'll never see in person, but people we can message and talk to when we need them to just be there. And that's what my corner is going to be. Just a bunch of people being better, being there for each other. And along the way, we can educate, and along the way, we can help other people be happy and be better. So next time you see somebody downing the sex work industry, or you see someone shaming a girl because she's having sex for money, or shaming a guy for having sex for money, I dare you to just stand up and say, hey, that's not cool. Let's not shame people because they're choosing to do something you wouldn't do. Just because you view it as however you view it, whether it's a sin, whether it's disgusting, degrading, that doesn't mean that's a fact. That's your opinion. That's your morals. That's your thoughts. And the good thing about being human, the good thing about having our brain, good thing about having our personality is we have free will. And if that's how you view having sex for money, that is cool. What's not cool is shaming someone else and putting down someone else because they want to have sex for money, or for drugs, or for a table, or for food, or for diapers, or for whatever. That is not okay. And I can already see a lot of people not agreeing with this podcast. I can see a lot of people saying, the Addict Mom is telling people to have sex for drugs. I can see it now. Oh my gosh. I can see it right now. The Addict Mom says, have sex for money with no shame. Okay, if that's what y'all get out of this episode, then y'all have a lot more self-exploring to do, and I can only do so much for you, okay? I can only help people so much, okay? I'm an addiction and mental health advocate. That's what I call myself. It's a passion of mine. I'm going to college for my human services degree. This is something I deeply have a passion for. It's not just I'm a keyboard warrior talking behind a mic and a keyboard. No, this is something I am going to spend my life doing, helping people, helping women in their addiction, helping kids learn what addiction is, and hopefully helping people make the right choice to not go down the road of addiction, because they're learning their triggers and they can learn to cope before they go down that road. That's my whole purpose of this. And if you're already down the road of having sex for money or for drugs and you don't want to do it, well, honey, this episode is for you. Because maybe you need to hear that somebody is here for you. Maybe you need to hear that there is no shame anymore in that. Because I am denying all shame for women, for people, for men who choose to have sex for money and for drugs. I'm ending that. That shit's gone. Not over here with me. And maybe somebody right now needs to hear that so they can message me and so they can tell me their story, get it off their chest and learn to cope. Because that's all I want. That's all I want. Is for somebody to learn how to cope with their trauma, recognize their triggers, learn to cope with their triggers, and just be better and be happy. And I firmly believe I can do that. As long as people are hearing me, somebody will benefit from this. And if you're not taking my podcast and my YouTube videos the way I am intending them to be perceived, I can't control that. I can only say what I feel, say what I think, and I know it's going to come across somebody who needs to hear it, and it will help them. Until then, I'll keep putting out my words and my episodes and my videos, and eventually somebody will hear it. All right, you guys, I'm going to go to bed. I'm tired over here, and this is a short one, but I just want to get it out there. I'll tell more of my story later on about my experiences in the sex work industry. My experiences are very traumatic. They're not like good experiences. They're not like fun nights out, having sex, fun sex for money or for drugs. No. There are many sexual assaults. There are many times I was handcuffed and tied down. There are many times I was gagged against my will. Times that my clothes were taken. So if I did run out the house, I was naked. Times I was locked out of a house in somebody's backyard with no way out. Times I was forced into a 6-foot deep pool with no clothes on. I have a very traumatic experience working in the sex industry. And it's going to take a lot to get me to share those experiences. I will, though, because I know it will help somebody. But right now is not the time. It will, though. It'll come. I just want y'all to know you're never alone. And if y'all ever need to vent or if you need help, message me, because I'll find a way to help you. I can help you figure it out. Don't forget to go to my website, TheAddictMom.Online, to learn about my GoFundMe page, my recovery boxes. Very, very excited about those. I'm at my website, TheAddictMom.Online. All my links are on my website. If you want to follow me on my social medias, and my blog is over there as well. I have a blog. I'm very good with typing out my words. I like to think I can speak good, but I write better. And my blog, I really like it. I'm just able to write whenever I can write. I just write. I let it go. I don't know how to explain it. If you're a writer, you know. It's different than when you're talking, even with a podcast or a TV show or something. So as always, make wise choices and stay safe. Cover safe however you need to recover. Because there's no wrong way to recover as long as you are healthy, you are functioning, and you're able to cope with your triggers and stay away from your drug of choice. And we'll see y'all later. Bye, you guys.